Welcome to the bonus section for the product review because I was impressed with the WE G17 results of the APS-X Bucking upgrade. I was going to do this on my Glock WE G Series 18C. And what I was referring earlier to the G17 is right here in my hand. I try and get it focused. The left one is the Glock series hop-up arm, WE hop-up arm, and this one is a WE high Kappa arm. And if you notice, the Glock nub here is very small. I'll try and get this thing to focus. And the high Kappa, you could see it indents even a lot more, or the nub area indents a lot more, and it gives you a lot of hop-up. But what I have to do with the Glock series is I'm going to grab the high Kappa hop-up arm and flatten out this nub a little bit. So make it a little flat. So when I use the bucking, I'm kind of creating kind of like almost like the, how you call it, the flat hop type of effect. So this gives the WE more accuracy and also just use the stock distance. Inner barrel. Just a quick note on it. I never really had too much issue with WE stock barrel, other than when you try to clean the inner barrel inside, it always looks like crap. But to be honest, as long as you keep it nice and clean, it actually shoots pretty well. So I'm going to use the stock one with the bucking and the modified hop-up unit, and we'll see how the Glock 18C does. 298.8. 299, 298.8, 299.8, 300. I thought it was pretty interesting. Up on the top portion is the Glock 17 with the APS-X upgraded red bucking, and the bottom portion is the WE G18C with also the APS-X upgraded bucking. And even though it's pretty much a WE G series pistols, and pretty much everything is pretty much the same except a slight difference that obviously the G18 is a full automatic pistol if you want to select fire it. Probably the biggest difference that I can see between the two pistols is the inner barrel. I believe the WE G17 uses a brass 605 barrel, versus the WE G18C uses a black 603 type bore barrel. Now, I would expect that the WE G18C would have done better because the trigger almost feels like a real steel Glock match trigger. The trigger felt nice, but the groupings for some reason didn't quite come out as good as the G17's. I think the G17 overall would shoot probably at 50 feet roughly a 4-inch grouping consistently, versus the G18 it's probably closer to maybe 4.5 to 5-inch groupings, but kind of hard to tell. Going over my first grouping, I could see I could consistently get a little grouping down at the bottom, and that was roughly the inner groups were roughly 4.5 inches, and taking in the flyers in account, it's about a 6.5-inch spread. On my second attempt, I thought it was kind of interesting that 5 shots kind of created kind of a cross mark, and that I really don't have an inner group. It's more like a 10-inch circle. The third group, it's kind of like 4.5 inches with these 3 groupings here, but if I add the whole item here, it's an 8.5-inch circle. So maybe the G18C, maybe it's more like maybe a 7 to 8-inch circle type gun at 50 feet if you want to hit something. So I thought that was very interesting that the G18C didn't quite produce better groupings, because I believe it has a tighter bore barrel and a better trigger. But in this case, it just didn't feel like the G17 when it came to accuracy. One thing I did notice about the hop-up on on the G18C, it kind of shot like my REAP buckings for GBBs. They tend to have flatter trajectory versus with the Glock, I mean the G17, with the 605 barrel, it kind of created more of a rainbow effect on shooting the BB. So you could see like this nice little overspin and it rainbows right into your target nicely versus the G18C kind of flatter trajectory and hitting your target, but it just didn't feel quite as accurate as as the G17, and the G17 just felt a lot more accurate. And but with the god awful trigger, it just felt like kind of weird when you hit your target. Both pistols actually shot up to 190 feet. The G17 shot a better, in my opinion, a better grouping. Well, I shouldn't say grouping. It could hit a big man-sized target a lot easier at 190 feet versus the G18. It just felt like it was just more sparsely out and touching 190 feet mark. So big surprises there for me. So I was really surprised that the WE G18C didn't do well despite the 603 Type bore barrel and the match-like trigger compared to the G17. The range, I mean the accuracy on this, it felt like you're just not getting any precision shooting. I mean, you'll definitely hit an 8.5, 11 sheet of paper at 50 feet, but it just didn't feel anything like the G17, despite having the same modification and the same bucking. The two effects that I could see between the difference of the gun is they could both reach 190 feet, but this one felt like it was just more like it was everywhere at 190 feet versus this one just felt like more it was going to reach its target. And the effects of it is I noticed that it kind of like leaves a nice little spin and rainbow effect into the target, and you just feel like you have a lot more confidence in connecting with your target. And what was really surprising with the G17 was, as I shown in the other video, is that it did almost a 1.25 inch at 50 feet, which I thought was amazing with the barrel lockup and the trigger. That wasn't the greatest thing on earth. So would I recommend the APS-X bucking? Well, I mean, you guys give it a try. You know, every gun's gonna react and model's gonna react differently. And like I said, I brought out my G18C just to see if I could replicate the same accuracy, but I just couldn't do it. So, like I said, always give something a try. And for me, it was an eye-opener that that sometimes a modification just doesn't go the way as what you think it does. So, just a side note, if you guys are a Glock lover, if you live in the States, Airsplat does have an August sale for a lot of their inventory, and one of them is Glocks. And one of the best deals that I've seen that they were selling this particular G17 for $68. I would say go ahead and try and buy them before they run out of their Glocks, because they're just selling, everything's almost literally on sale there. And I would say it has some great prices that I haven't seen, and like how they advertise since Black Friday for pistols. So give them a try. So, all right. So there's your APS-X APX bucking thing. I bought my buckings at Impact Force for the APS-X. Red Wolf sells them. eHobby Asia, I think, also sells them. But take a look. You can't miss them.